Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here, doing a video celebrating, oops, this is zoomed in. Doing a video celebrating the 21st anniversary of Resident Evil. I'm wearing my Resident Evil 7 shirt. I decided to put on my normal hat, like the actual channel hat. I haven't worn it in quite a while, but for Resident Evil I figured I'd wear it again. I wanted to do this video because I believe it was the, I don't ever remember the specific day, I believe it was the 24th though, was the 21st anniversary for the first Resident Evil game in the States. And I was on Twitter earlier today and I saw a tweet by Resident Evil, and I was like, oh man, it's officially past the date, so it's 21 years old. And I wanted to do a video celebrating the franchise again. I actually did one last year for the 20th anniversary. They had the whole symbol and everything for that, and it was a really big deal. And now it is officially 2.1 decades old this year. And I wanted to do it because things have changed drastically from that last year. Like, I actually just rewatched that video where I was rambling, of course, for 20 minutes. And I'll probably do the same here because it's still my favorite franchise. And I went through that whole thing, and it was a lot of stuff where I was like, man, I'm excited for where the future is headed and stuff like that. And, there were a lot of things I mentioned in, like, I want to see this character and I want to see these things happen. And it's pretty funny going from that last video to this year, where things have had such a drastic change within the franchise. Not only have we had Resident Evil 7, which I actually have right here. So, of course, we have Resident Evil 7. Hopefully my autofocus is there. It is. So we've had Resident Evil 7. We have the Origins Collection, which at the time, when I did the 20th anniversary video, I don't believe that was actually released yet. I think they had both games, or Zero was coming out at that time I did the 20th anniversary video. I think Zero was still coming out and they hadn't done the actual collections just yet. So we didn't have the collections version yet. We of course didn't have Resident Evil 7 come out. And we also didn't have the newest Resident Evil movie, not the live action thing, although we did recently have that as well, which concluded the live action Resident Evil franchise. So the final movie for the live action films recently ended. And we also have the announcement, and I believe it comes out, I want to say next month. Hopefully it comes out next month, but Resident Evil Vendetta is coming out, so we have the newest CG Resident Evil movie coming out, and we finally have Rebecca Chambers coming back, so I was super excited for that. And that was one of those things I've been wanting for a super long time, like most fans of Resident Evil. Rebecca just hadn't been in the franchise for a super long time, and she made appearances and stuff like that, but it was never like canon within story sort of appearances. So it was really great to see, the changes when I, going from watching that video from last year to doing this one. It's like, man, so much has changed. Resident Evil 7's come out. That was really great. And I know there's a whole thing, and I want to do a video on this. I've had the idea to do it for a super long time, but I'm definitely going to do a video talking about Resident Evil 7 because there's this crazy, weird, like, controversy behind it. It's not really a controversy, it's just a thing where some people just hate it, and it's like people saying that it's not a true Resident Evil game, and I do not understand that at all. Like, I played through the game twice now, and I plan on playing through it a third time. I did, like, Let's Play for both full playthroughs and all the DLC so far, and I had a phenomenal time with that game. It's very different, for sure. Definitely story-wise, it's more modern. The storytelling of the game is definitely different than the older ones I felt. And also it's very, distant from the other games, of course. And I feel like that's the only reason people were saying it's not a Resident Evil game, is because it doesn't have the same characters in it. So, I don't know. I mean, I plan on doing a video on that. If you guys want to talk back and forth with me about why you don't believe it's a Resident Evil game, I would love to get some insight on that, because I feel like some people say it and then I'm just like, nobody ever gives any evidence as to why. Because it's definitely a scary game, so that's Resident Evil. It does have ties to the Resident Evil universe. They may be small, but they're definitely in there. And there's certain references where I feel like we'll get, especially with this new DLC coming out, I think we'll get some more answers to that as well, so I'm looking forward to it for sure. But I'm like, yeah, there's some things that aren't exactly the same. Like, this isn't really a spoiler, but it doesn't exactly have puzzles in it. It's got like a puzzle, or like, 2 puzzles total, and they're nothing puzzles. They're super easy. I was like, okay, yeah, it's missing puzzles. But so was like Resident Evil 5 and 6. I didn't hear anybody saying like these aren't real Resident Evil games, and I'm just like, I feel like every time I read that, I'm like, it has to be because the characters aren't there, and I feel like that's just not, a fair thing to say. Like, compared to all the stuff they brought back for Resident Evil 7, I'm like, there's so many things that they brought back that neither 5 nor 6 have had. Or even, really, the Revelations games even didn't have them. And those are great. Those are really good games. And I'm like, even those games didn't have some of the aspects that they put into Resident Evil 7 that they brought back. And even enhanced, like inspecting items and stuff like that. And I'm just like, man, how in the world are people saying this is not a Resident Evil game? So, you know, aside from that, you know, it's come back, and I personally, I just love the freaking game, and a lot of people do. I'm looking forward to this DLC. I'm looking forward to where we go in the future with the franchise. But I wanted to do this just going through it. I have, you know, well, actually, the picture that I'm using for the thumbnail, you know, got my little Resident Evil case. This is actually something that I recently bought during Black Friday weekend. It was at a resale shop. It had nothing to actually do with Black Friday. It just happened to be during that time. But this is actually the second case. I have my original case still. I just bought this just to have it as like a collector's item, and I might resell it. That was kind of the point of me buying it, was to resell it, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. And then I bought Resident Evil 2 because I didn't have the case. I have my CDs for this, but I don't have the case. So I bought this as well. I actually bought this one. I initially bought them to sell them, but I was an idiot. I didn't buy both because I only have one case of this, and I kind of want to keep it myself because otherwise I won't have the case anymore. But, you know, I love the game. Still got my special edition for Resident Evil 5 and stuff. So I really do enjoy the franchise, and I love where it's gone with Resident Evil 7. I really think it's done a great job. I love the DLC. You know, they went from not really having too much for the game to having kind of a really good Resident Evil experience. Because when you first get the game, and if you beat it, there's really not much for you. Like, you don't actually unlock anything. That's like the one unfortunate part of the whole game, is that you don't really unlock anything when you beat the game. You just unlock like the newest mode. And maybe you unlock some stuff when you beat that. Like I said, I still haven't done it, like Madhouse difficulty, which, you know, changes some things up. I know it switches items around and stuff, so I'm still really excited to get into it. It's just them doing other stuff for the channel. But, you know, you don't really unlock much, but the DLC is where they start to introduce elements, and it's like, okay, so this is the new version of basically Mercenaries mode, and they have other really silly modes that are fun to play, and it's like, this is cool, because you have the old school horror element of Resident Evil, and then the DLC allows us to have, you know, some stuff is really intense, especially the 21 DLC, that's pretty fun to play, and then you have like Jack's 55th birthday, which is kind of silly, but at the same time, it's still a nice, fun mode to play. You have, I forgot exactly what it's called, like the basement DLC, where you have to survive until dawn, and that's basically Mercenaries mode. Those are all really good DLCs, and it's like, okay, you know, they didn't have them as unlockables, which that's just, I won't give, you know, put that on the game or Capcom. I put that more to just the industry as a whole, where it's like, oh yeah, you know, everyone does it now, so it's like, well, we'll leave what would have been the cool unlockable extra modes, we'll leave that and make them $10 a piece. That's just, unfortunately, the industry we're in at this point, so I can't put that on, like, you know, Capcom still could have avoided doing that, but I can't just hate them on it. I mean, there are certain companies that do things way worse than what Capcom did with this, especially considering the DLC is at least worth buying. When you get it, it's actually at least worth having, so there's something to that. But I really enjoyed the game. I love where things are for the Resident Evil franchise. I like where they're headed. I'm very curious with this DLC coming out because of, it just, I'm curious, is it going to be horror based, or considering what, you know, with them trying to change things up, I hope it's horror based and it has a bit of the action in there. But it just makes me wonder, especially with what they're doing. I don't want to spoil it, even though it's been months at this point. I still don't want to spoil it, so just in case. I guess technically it's, it may have only actually been a month. I guess it did come out in February. I don't even remember. It may have been January. I can't even remember when 7 came out. But, you know, it hasn't been too long, so I still don't want to spoil it just in case. But odds are, if you're watching this, you probably already have played through Resident Evil 7. But like I said, I just wanted to do this video because things have really changed for the franchise. This was a really good next step. You know, a lot of people were worried, myself included. I was just like, I hope it does well. I wasn't freaking out. Once again, the first person thing, I think, was another reason people were complaining, like, it's not a real Resident Evil game, which there have been like 3 other, there's been 4 other first-person Resident Evil games, 4.5 if you count Resident Evil dead aim, because every time you aim, it goes into first person, but when you walk around, it's like the normal third-person view. So there have definitely been other true, I guess, Resident Evil games that have been solely in first person. And yeah, 2 of them were definitely the Umbrella Chronicle, or the Chronicles games, which were remakes or reimaginings of 0, 1, 2, 3, and Code Veronica. But still, we've had other Resident Evil games that were either canon or reimaginings, and they're fine. You know, they're totally fine. They don't need to be third person. I still would have liked it, but you know, they did some good stuff with the first person element, and even if it was in third person, there are just some things that in the game where it's like first person and third person didn't really make much of a difference. It would have been creepy. But really enjoyed the game. Really happy where the franchise is right now. This is something else I wanted to randomly show off because I didn't have this thing last year, but my girlfriend got it for me for Valentine's Day. I got some pictures of this up on Twitter and my Instagram and stuff if you guys want to check it out. But we went and we, you know, saw some stuff, and I was just like, I saw the Tyrant and I was like, yeah, I gotta get that. So up next is getting Jill Valentine, and then maybe I'll get Nemesis after that. Still not 100% sure. Jill, I'm definitely gonna get. I gotta get Jill. She's my favorite character in the franchise, and Nemesis is my favorite villain in the whole franchise. So I'm at least getting Jill. So I'll probably end up getting both of those. But you know, I had to get this one. I love this figure. It's just, you know, Resident Evil figure. I actually don't have a lot of Resident Evil stuff, oddly enough. I have all the games, or most of the games at least. I have all the numbered games in Code Veronica, and I have Dark Side Chronicles, but I don't have Umbrella Chronicles. I played through it and beaten it, but I don't own that one. But I really don't have a lot of like Resident Evil memorabilia. I have my Tyrant. I have some posters, which I last year. Actually, yeah, so that was another big thing for me personally that changed from the last time I did the video. During the 20th anniversary, of course, before Resident Evil 7 came out, they had the big US tour event, and I actually got to go to that. And I did a whole video on that, so if you guys want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description for it. But that was another big thing that changed for me personally. I got to go to that experience. I got the little 20th anniversary pin, which, you know, all that stuff is in the video. Or you can go to like my Twitter, Instagram. At least Twitter. I don't know if I have a picture of the pin on Instagram, but I have the special 20th anniversary pin, and it's basically the 20th anniversary symbol, but the colors are inverted for where the letters are, because it's normally just a black image with white letters and a white zombie, and the zombie is still white and it's inside a black box, but the letters are inverted, so it's like a little L in the, like a white L, and then the colors for the letters, instead of being white, are actually inverted to black. So it's like a very minute change, but it makes it a unique pin, and I was happy to get that. I got some exclusive posters, like a 20th anniversary poster, some posters for the game. One of them just shows off the normal image. The other is basically the special edition image. If you guys have the special edition version of the game, it's that image, except it's not red and black, it's just beige and black. So I got some cool posters. I got a little zombie face thing on a stick. I got the pin, which is really awesome. Sadly, I could never buy an item. They weren't allowed to sell items at that one, so I really wanted to get like this exclusive. They had a little plush liquor figure that had like a 3-inch tongue, and I couldn't buy it, and I was so upset. And if I go, you know, if you go on eBay, of course, it's like $50. It was already expensive. It was like $30 to begin with, just because it's like it's exclusive. But of course, if you go on eBay, it's like twice as much. So I was like, man, that really sucks. So I really would have loved to have gotten that, and I was gonna buy it. And they had hoodies and stuff, and just when they got to the place I was at, sadly nothing was for sale. They weren't allowed to do it. And I was like, that really freaking blows. And they never put it up online either. I was kind of hoping maybe they'd open up a shop and just sell the excess items, and they never did that. I was so upset by that. I was like, man, I wish they would just sell this stuff. I really wanted to get that liquor plush, and I just never could. So that's like the one thing that always comes back to me. Like, I really wish I could have got that liquor plush with that super long tongue. But that was a really cool experience to have, and like I said, that was just a big thing that changed from the 20th anniversary to the 21st anniversary for me personally, like I said. But really happy where the franchise is headed. Really love Resident Evil 7. I cannot wait to see this new movie. Rebecca Chambers is finally back in the franchise. I swear, I hope she has a really big role in this next movie, and I hope it's not like the damsel in distress thing. I know she's the youngest of the characters, not including Sherry and Jake, because of course they were literally like the kids, but she was always the young member of the Stars Bravo team. So I'm like, I hope that with this new film and us finally getting to see her after, I think it's been like 10 years. I mean, and heck, that's not even counting like the actual timeline. She hasn't been in the games for basically 20 full freaking years, because the next game that came out that she was a main character in was Zero, which was even before the first game. So timeline-wise, she hasn't been in anything for basically 21 years, and finally she's in this movie. But if you count Zero, like the original version of Zero, not like the HD re-release of it, even that was like over 10 years ago. I think that came out in 2002 or 2003. I think the remake of the original was 2002. So Zero was right before that, or like right. I think it actually came out after the remake of the first game. I think they did it after the remake. So even counting the last game that she was in as canon, even that's been over a decade. So it's insane that they're finally bringing it back. And I hope she's really cool in this, and I hope they don't do like the damsel in distress thing for her character. And I feel like they did that a little in the trailer. And I remember talking about that, and I did a whole reaction for that. If you guys want to check that out, I'll make sure I put a link in the description to that too. But I'm looking forward to Vendetta. I just can't wait to see the movie. I'm glad that she's back. Leon and Chris are both in it, although Chris looks different. That seems to be a thing that they're doing with Chris, where he just constantly looks different. If you know what I mean by that, you know what I mean. If not, then I'll let you figure it out later. But last couple of appearances by Chris, I'm just like, that doesn't look like him. That doesn't look like him either. What is going on? Maybe there's some explanation as to one of the elements. There's been some theories rolling around. But as far as the Vendetta thing, I'm like, that just doesn't look like him. I feel like they just keep changing the way he looks, and it's just so weird to me. But I'm looking forward to the movie. I'm enjoying where the franchise is right now. I'm loving Resident Evil 7. Like I said, I cannot wait for the DLC for this game. I'm really looking forward to where we go next for Resident Evil as far as the games. Are we going to go Resident Evil 8? Are we going to go Resident Evil Revelations 3? Because they did a really, really big thing for people who haven't, for those of you who haven't played Revelations 2, I highly recommend it. I think I mentioned that in my last video. That's a great game. It's very similar to Resident Evil 4, where it's really creepy in certain parts, but it's also very actiony. And also, you can play that whole game in co-op, and it's really fun. It's a really fun game. Claire Redfield, Moira Burton, so one of Barry's daughters, is actually one of the main characters in that game, so that's another reason to play too. You get introduced to the older version of one of Barry's kids, and she's a main part of the universe now, so that's really great. And they do some great story with her character. It's really, really well done. And I just highly recommend that game. And there's a new character that gets introduced in there as well. And they do some stuff that I don't know how they're going to implement this into like the overall universe, but I'm really looking forward to what they do with the next Revelations game and where that goes. Because I'm like, they had a very interesting way to end out that game. And I was like, okay, I want to see where this goes next. So I hope we get Revelations 3 pretty soon. Considering the way they ended 2, it could become a part of the main universe, but of course we have to see where they decide to take things going off of 7 and how different that was and how that plays into the rest of the universe. But really, really excited to see where the franchise goes. They certainly made up for the last game before 7. What the heck was it? Umbrella Corps. I didn't buy that game, but everyone, it was panned. It was already the unwanted sequel to Operation Raccoon City, which even that wasn't like hated on. It was just like, oh, this is kind of man. It's Left 4 Dead, Resident Evil. I still haven't gotten to play it. I finally bought it on Steam when it was on sale. I just still haven't gotten to play it, but I'm at least interested in that. I saw Umbrella Corps. It's like, yeah, this is a really crappy, basically multiplayer only game, and if you're playing single player, you're basically just playing training missions all the way through and doing the same thing you would do in multiplayer. And it's like, well, that sucks. Why'd they even bother, with that game? So they certainly brought themselves back up from that disaster with, Resident Evil 7 being so amazing. Really looking forward to where the series goes. Can't wait to see what they do next with both the main franchise as well as, what they decide to do with the Revelations franchise. But we'd love to know what you guys thought about this past year of Resident Evil content. It's very different with the 20th anniversary. I think Revelations 2 was the most recent one, and now 7 being the most recent game. It's such a different time. Plus, like I said, the new CG movie came out. Live action movie, not that big of a deal. Who really cares compared to that and the gaming? That's just its own thing. It doesn't matter. Also, that was just a bad last movie. It was really sad. I remember seeing that. I was just like, it was so disappointing. I actually some of those movies are fine, and then the last one, I was like, how in the world did they make all these movies? Whereas I personally actually really like the first Resident Evil movie. It's like a normal pseudo-horror action movie, and I'm like, I'm okay with that first movie. And after that, I didn't really like 2. I thought 3 was fine, and then after that, it was kind of just like, meh. 4 was very meh. 5 was actually a little bit better because they brought a lot of characters back. And then this last one, I'm just like, how in the world is this the worst one? And it's the last one, and it was just sad. Like, I've never been so sad. I was like, I don't love the live-action movies or anything, but it was just like, I'm okay with them. You know, I'm curious to see how things play out and stuff, and it's just, you know, they tend to be just okay, but I can enjoy them at least. There's something in there where I'm like, I can enjoy this. And that last one, while there are like maybe slivers, literal slivers of scenes, it was just sad to see that as the final movie where it's like some stuff just doesn't even make sense. And I'm just like, wow, it's really sad to see anything. Like, even if you don't like it, I don't want somebody's like whole work to end on just a horrible, crappy note and just be like, wow, that's your legacy on that now. That's really sad. So, still doesn't really matter as far as it ties into the games, but a really crazy experience seeing that one. Also, did a review, spoiler review of that with my girlfriend. That was really funny. You guys should probably really check that one out because it was just us talking so much crap about that movie. So hopefully you enjoy that, and I'll put a link in the description for that as well. But we'll let you know how you guys feel about where the franchise is right now with Resident Evil 7, what you guys think about it. Do you think it's really a Resident Evil game? A lot of people also love to say only people that aren't true Resident Evil fans believe it's a real Resident Evil game. I hate when people do that. It's like, you just keep saying that like you're just so much better because you like Resident Evil 1, as if a bunch of people didn't. It's like, it's crazy to me. Anyway, we'll love to know what you think about where the franchise is right now and where it's headed. Movies, games, anything extra you guys want to see. I know there was a manga a few years back that I never finished reading that was like the lead up to 5 or 6 or something. It's like a really small manga. It's only like 3 chapters. But we'd love to know where you guys, you know, feel the franchise is right now, what you think about it, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see in the future. So please put all your comments down in the comment section below. Sorry I rambled, but I did mention in the beginning, favorite franchise, celebrating its anniversary. Again, it's legal now. It can get liquor. But, you know, I just had to talk a lot about it. And like I said, things changed so much from the 20th anniversary to now with new games and new movies. So we'd love to know where you guys think the franchise is. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.